I think that, by this point, it should come as no surprise that, when these days someone makes a video about that nut job, in my opinion, Ezra Miller, it means that the nut job has done something nutty yet again. Therefore, for me to come out and start this video by saying, Ezra Miller's at it again, seems a bit redundant. Of course Ezra Miller's done something crazy again. It's Ezra fucking Miller, and Ezra fucking Miller is insane. I'm not even going to qualify that with an, in my opinion, because by now it should be plainly fucking evident. Ezra Miller is nuttier than a goddamned payday. Hell, Ezra Miller is nuttier than an entire planter's factory. Now that's an opinion. He could be slightly nuttier, he could be slightly less nutty, yet the fact that he actually is nutty should not be in dispute here. Now, this news in and of itself is a few days old. That small handful of larger publications that would touch this story actually talked about it on Friday, though there were still some smaller publications that were talking about it even as recently as a few hours ago. Found that out when I went to see if there were any updates to the thing, something which I actually found on Twitter, thanks to Nina Infinity for posting up this article. It didn't show up in the Google search that I did, at least not that I saw. So I did talk about this story a bit last week, talking about that nut job Ezra Miller and this girl Tokata Iron Eyes. I still say that's a badass name, by the way. Anyway, at that point, the parents of Tokata were still in the process of getting a restraining order against the actor in order to keep his crazy ass the fuck away from their daughter. In their filing for the, I guess it's a domestic violence protection order, the parents accused Miller of, quote, psychologically manipulating, physically intimidating, and endangering the safety and welfare of Tokata Iron Eyes, unquote. Now, since that bit of news hit last Wednesday, the tribal courts for the Standing Rock Sioux, which Tokata and her family are a part of, actually granted the protective order to the parents. Apparently by tribal law, despite the fact that she's of legal age in the overall U.S. courts, Tokata's parents are still nominally her legal guardians and can decide what is or is not appropriate for her, even at this stage in her life. One thing I wanted to point out in this article, which is coming from that monkeypox-stained rag, the LA Times, is this. This is exactly why the LA Times is exactly what I just referred to them as. For real, what the actual fuck does this have to do with anything in this story, LA Times? Can you please tell me why exactly you felt the need to insert this within this article? It has nothing to do with anything happening between these people, so why make a point of inserting this stupid bullshit in there? It absolutely serves no legitimate purpose within the article. Your newspaper is such trash. This article also does talk about those things which I myself went over in last week's video. They speak of how old Tokata was when she met Miller, which was 12. The article also talks about the time she got to fly to the UK to hang out with Miller on the set of Fantastic Beasts when she was 14. One thing that this article goes into, though, is a bit more detail on that trip, which is something that I wanted to point out as well. Now, it's not even given a full paragraph, but it does clear some things up, I suppose. It seems that Tokata wasn't alone when she took that trip. She was with, quote, several other tribal members, which I'm guessing were probably other younglings and included at least one chaperone, at least according to this article. Though it does mention that the chaperone stopped Miller from trying to sleep in the same bed as the then 14-year-old girl, which is just, ugh. It may not be quite as scandalous as it initially appeared when all anyone knew was that her parents allowed a 14-year-old to go to London with a grown-ass man, but that shit about him trying to share a bed is just fucking disgusting, and that's totally on him. Now, for anyone watching that might be like, respect his pronouns, bigot. Nah, if he legit did that shit, then he's legitimately a fucking pedophile, and pedophiles don't get pronouns. They only get to face the wall. The rest of this article just goes over more of the shit that I went over last week, what with her parents visiting Miller's home in Vermont to try to get Tokata to come home, then talking about how she dropped out of school. It also covers Tokata's own Instagram posts concerning the whole thing, which again I went over last week. It does go into a bit more detail on the fact that the parents don't think those are her words in that initial Instagram post. They feel those aren't her words and that Tokata is basically reading some sort of prepared statement written by Miller. Now this is something that Ryan went over last Friday when he talked about this story then. He pulled up the recent Instagram post and then pulled up another one from when she was a bit younger and, yeah, the difference was pretty fucking clear. It definitely goes far to lend credence to what her parents are asserting right now. Really what this article is about is that nobody can seem to find Ezra Miller and Tokata Iron Eyes. It seems that they've been on the move pretty much since her parents went to file for the protective order, and they don't seem to be staying in one place long enough to actually be served with the papers. That the parents and the authorities have no idea where the two are in order to get help from whatever local jurisdiction Miller is in. I guess if they managed to serve him with the papers, Miller wouldn't be able to so much as contact Tokata for 30 days and would have to stay at least 100 yards away from the family's residence during that time. Personally, I'm not entirely sure if 30 days is long enough for her to be deprogrammed from that commie-ass Kool-Aid she's been chugging, but I wish them luck on that. Now, I mentioned earlier that I did find some bit of an update from a post by Nina Infinity. I'll briefly go into that now. It comes from The Direct, which I believe is yet another garbage mainstream site, and it's talking about how Miller's been posting what can only loosely be described as memes in response to people calling him what he is, a fucking groomer. These supposed memes are batshit insane, for real. Witnessing these things is like watching how a crazy brain functions in real time. All of them are fucking nuts. This last one is just fucking wow. I'll do my best to translate the crazy for you all since I know it's a little hard to parse. Quote, I am shielded from negative people and their ill intent. My spirit, mind, body, soul, and success are not altered by anyone's envy. I am protected from all negative energy people attempt to throw at me, subconsciously and consciously. I clear any and all hidden peers who are hidden enemies. Unquote. Of course, Warner Brothers has yet to respond to any of this, and are probably desperately hoping that it all blows over, and people forget about it before The Flash hits theaters. Well, I can tell you this, Warner. I won't. You stood by an abuser before, you're standing by two abusers now, at least allegedly in the case of Miller. However, considering the shit this garbage truck full of crazy has already done, I have no problems believing he's an abuser, a groomer, and a potential pedophile. So keep sticking behind these types, Warner. I'm sure your parent company loves all this negative press and standing behind psychopaths that you do. As always, these thoughts are my own opinions and nothing more. If you'd like, you can give me your opinions in that handy section down below. While you're down there. At this point, I'm legit hoping you'll eventually find Ezra Miller down there doing whatever he can for some spare change. If you like my ungodly, crass opinions, you can get them several times a week and join my big green horde by crushing those like and subscribe buttons. If you made it this far into the video, you have my gratitude. I'll see you all tomorrow for some more pop culture insanity. See you then. Lates.